Guys, what's up? Darcy here at 6 Strings 9 Lives. I said a while back I'd like to start updating some of my ranking videos. So I started off with Flotsam and Jetsam to include their newest album, Blood in the Water. Great album, great band too if you want to check them out. And then I thought, who are we going to do next? Let's pick another one of my favorite thrash bands, and that's Testament. My previous ranking video was 4 years old. It did not include Titans of Creation, which fantastic album from 2020. You know, and I've had plenty of time with that album now, so I know where that one fits in. Get a nice fresh listen to all these albums. A couple subtle changes, nothing mind-blowing from my previous ranking video, but always fun to talk about. Like I said, one of my favorite thrash bands, Testament. And probably overall, I would say their discography of 12 studio albums, which is, I won't include First Strike Still Deadly. That's a re-recorded material. But the consistency of these guys over the years, if you compare them to other, like names, the Death Angels, the Exoduses, and stuff like that, I think Testament has the most consistent catalog. No real shit albums. They've tried a couple of things in here, which we'll show you. We're going to rank these from 12 all the way to number 1. We're going to have a little bit of fun today, too. We are going to use, I'm going to rank them, and I'm going to hold up original cassettes, original CDs, some brand new cassettes, some original newer vinyl, and some reissues, just to have a little bit of fun. And I think up next in my updated rankings, I am going to tackle Armored Saint, another one of my favorite bands. I want to include their newest album, Punching the Sky, I think also from 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Another great album too. But all right, let's get started with number 12. And like I said, there's really no shitty albums here. Even a fresh listen kind of opened my eyes to, hey, this is not that as bad as it was. And I'm starting off with number 12, 7th overall studio album, 1997, Demonic. Generally lower on most people's list, and it's the vocals. Chuck, they went super heavy on the kind of the death metal type vocals, and it's almost like Chuck's trying a little too hard. There is a lot of, not a lot, I shouldn't say a lot, but there is some great sung parts by Chuck in here. My favorite track is Hatred's Rise, which he sings really good on that one. The opening track, super heavy, Demonic Refusal, starts off with that a countdown right to 666 into this heavy riff, heavy drums, heavy bass. I'd say another couple standouts, Burning Times. I do like that song a lot. Probably John Doe. Yeah, had a nice revisit with this album, and not as bad as it's made out to be. If you want a little bit different Testament, go back and revisit this one. So that is number 12, 7th overall studio album from 1997. And coming in at number 11, their 11th overall studio album from 2016. This is Brotherhood of the Snake. Absolutely awesome artwork. And they have that same artist doing their covers for the past, 4 albums now. And plenty of other bands. The newest Creator album, that Sodom, 40 Years at War, that album cover by Elleran Kantor. But kind of messed up on the old logo. This always bothered me, but this is, and we'll talk about logos too, because I'm a logo guy for the most part. This is my favorite Testament logo when it's all, like this continuation here. This is the one where they started with this little hole here or whatever, and they kind of busted up the A because they probably just didn't want to screw up this cover because it's so cool. But as far as an album goes, this is my least favorite of the newer 4 since 08. The track listing is actually a little bit different on the vinyl than it is the CD. To be honest with you, I'm used to the track order of the CD a little bit more because I've listened to the CD quite a few more times than I've listened to the vinyl. But needless to say, there is some great tracks on here, but overall, this one is a little, I don't know, it's like they were, just trying to, lyrically for sure, they were kind of a little bit weird on songs like Blackjack or Born in a Rut. Actually, the song Born in a Rut actually starts off with the lyric Born in a Rut, and then it goes into, and that's all it's ever mentioned. But my top tracks on here, for sure, Stronghold is my favorite track. The riff for that going into it, fantastic. Title track, pretty good, Brotherhood of the Snake. And my other favorite track is The Pale King. But then you got a few, tracks like Canna Business. Just lyrically, not the greatest. I don't know what you could even say. A little lyrically, just not great. But musically, there's some tons of good solos in here. The musicianship is fantastic, but just a little bit lower in the ranking. Like I said, my least favorite of their newer material. So that's coming in number 11, Brotherhood of the Snake. Coming in at number 10, this would be, it's a great album, but it is my least favorite of their early work. This is their 4th overall studio album from 1990 called Souls of Black. Great cover. A little bit thin on the production. I know people do notice that. They went with Michael Rosen on this one instead of Alex Perry-Ellis, but similar production styles, but just a little bit weaker on the tracks. But there's still this, if you like that late 80s, obviously early 90s thrash sound, this has it all. Some favorite tracks on here for sure. Face in the Sky, Falling Fast, the title track, Souls of Black, and I've always loved the song Malpractice. I love the riff on there. And we got a couple like kind of slower songs on here. The Legacy, which is the name of their debut album, which ended up on this album. And this is the year I first saw Testament. I still have my ticket stub. They opened up for Megadeth. 1990, October 27th, 1990. What was the price on that? $20. Still one of my favorite concerts to this day. You got Megadeth on the Rust in Peace tour, and you got Testament out with a brand new album, Souls of Black. So coming in at number 10 is Souls of Black, 4th overall studio album. Not a bad album at all. Got that, like I said, it's got that, that late 80s thrash sound. You got sounding like albums like, State of Euphoria, that little bit on the thin side, but good, Under the Influence by Overkill, kind of in that wheelhouse. So, all right, let's grab a quick drink and move on. Coming in at number 9 is their second of their comeback. This is Dark Roots of Earth. Fantastic artwork. We don't even have to talk much about that. There's one of those logos where they separated every letter. They didn't have the continuation from the T to the T. Looks good on here. I like the gold. Definitely like the cover, the green and blues mixed in. Definitely got lots of snakes, like the Brotherhood of the Snake album cover too. Here's the back cover. So this one's the last with Greg Christian on bass. Standout tracks. Now on this album, the standout tracks really stand out. This is like I would say kind of a 50-50 album for me. 50% absolutely awesome, like Rise Up, Native Blood, True American Hate, Cold Embrace, kind of a eerie ballad type of thing. Man Kills Mankind. And then you got, whether you want to call it a little bit of filler, sure, whatever. But still a good album. Number 9, Dark Roots of Earth. All right, coming in at number 8, their 5th overall studio album from 1992. This is The Ritual. I still really don't like this cover, to be honest with you. I kind of like how the logo continues around, but there's just not enough happening on this one, I guess, to say. But anyways, 1992, last with the original classic lineup. But there's some great stuff on here. I really enjoy that little eerie intro of Signs of Chaos to Electric Crown, which is my favorite song on here. And I do see this one a little bit lower on people's lists. I guess I understand, but I I don't know. I bought this brand new, and Testament is one of those bands that I've been with since the legacy. I've never missed an album. I've never missed a new release. So each one of these I've had that day one experience with, I guess, if you want to say that. But So Many Lies, another great track. Let Go of My World, Return to Serenity, Agony. There is a good mix of, you know, I know some people compare this to, or is this Testament's Black album? I don't think so, really, but it's got a good mixture. There is some heavy stuff on here too. But anyways, coming in at number 8 is The Ritual from 1992. And that brings us to, and that's my original CD, and we are going to show you a brand new modern cassette, whatever you want to call, for number 7, and that is Titans of Creation. That's where this that's where it's fitting in for me. This is the best album they've done since Formation of Damnation, in my opinion. This one has it maybe a little too long. They definitely could have trimmed off. I would have trimmed off the song Code of Hammurabi, if I'm saying that right. That one I would have took out, because this is almost an hour long. But there is a good mix of different stuff on here. Like tracks like, one of my favorite tracks on here is City of Angels, which is about that serial killer, Richard Ramirez, the Night Prowler, or Night Stalker, whatever he was called. I know AC/DC did a song that I love from Highway to Hell about that guy too. But great track, just really different. Then you got some really heavy stuff, and you got Eric singing on here a little bit too, like on Night of the Witch, and he is also on Curse of Osiris, if I'm saying that right. But a couple other my favorite tracks on here would be Dream Deceiver and Symptoms. I think Symptoms is definitely co-written by Alex Skolnick. Just a really cool track, really heavy. And but yeah, there is the old cassette. Doesn't do the artwork any justice, but, and this is the second time in a row, actually a second time in a row, yes, that they've see that little kind of a hole above the A. That's only the second time they've done that. They've done that on Brotherhood of the Snake also. Very cool artwork. And I think this album does not have a title track, and that hasn't happened since probably 1999 on The Gathering. Doesn't have a title track either. But anyways, I digress. Let's move on to, what do we got? Number 6. And last on Atlantic Records, few lineup changes here. We don't have Alex, we don't have Louis, but here is my number 6 from 1994, Low. Now, I had said The Ritual has a couple heavy songs and a good mix. This one even takes it to kind of to the next level with songs like Dog-Faced Gods, where Chuck is just growling, and just kind of a little bit death metal, very not much at all, but a few of my other favorite tracks, definitely the title track Low, Dog-Faced Gods, which I've already mentioned, Hail Mary, Trail of Tears is really good, Chasing Fear, got James Murphy on here, John Tempesta, and I don't think this album really lacks that much in the lead work. I know Alex is fantastic, but I think James Murphy does a great job, and John on drums, so there's nothing lacking there. Excuse me. But this is my number 6 from 1994, Low. Number 5 is my favorite of the newest of the comeback albums. And when I heard Testament was reforming for the album Formation of Damnation, and I heard that first single, More Than Meets the Eye, I was blown away, to be honest with you, and couldn't wait to hear the whole album. And this one does feature Greg Christian on bass and Paul Bostaff on drums, which If you know this album, Paul absolutely shines on this album, especially on one of my favorite tracks, which is the title track, The Formation of Damnation. So many great tracks on here, More Than Meets the Eye, The Evil Has Landed, Leave Me Forever, heavy kind of track for sure. But yeah, number 5, their 9th overall studio album. And like I said, Paul Bostaff's drumming, fantastic. Alex, Eric, trading off solos. And Eric has become a really good lead player over the years too. But his rhythm work and just structuring these albums is fantastic. So check that one out. That is Formation of Damnation. And this, one of those newer cassettes. So that really doesn't do much for the artwork. But if you're watching this, you probably already know this artwork anyways. Let's move on to my number 4. And that is 1999's The Gathering, 8th overall studio album. And this one features, we have Dave Lombardo on drums, who is currently in Testament now again, took over for Gene Hoglan. So this up-and-coming album, whenever that comes out, will be Dave's first album since this one. And I'm interested, definitely, Dave's a bit of a different drummer than Gene, so he just brings a new element, because I absolutely love this album. I think it's just got a great mix of heaviness. It still maintains that Testament sound, but it's got got some death vocals from Chuck, melodic singing. He has a great ability to do all those things. I think he's a great just singer, and then when he wants to do the death stuff or a few growls here and there, I think he does it very well. Here's the cover. They've since updated this one. Also, it is available as a reissue on Nuclear Blast if you want to check this one out. Or if this is my original on Spitfire. A little harder to get, but great album. And who else did we have on? We had Steve DiGiorgio on bass here. So basically, besides, and James Murphy, sorry, this is James Murphy's second album that he was on. So besides James Murphy, switch him out with Alex Skolnick, you got the current lineup of Testament right now. Favorite tracks, definitely the opener, DNR, Do Not Resuscitate, awesome. Down for Life, my favorite track on here is True Believer. If you haven't checked out that track, go ahead and check that one out. And just a very consistent album of good songs. There's not much for weak on here. I think there's one little instrumental on here. 3 Days of Darkness, 3 Days in Darkness. Check out that track too. So there is my number 4 from 1999, The Gathering. And then, of course, after that, we wouldn't see Testament return until 2008 with The Formation of Damnation. And they're still going strong to this day. So where are we at? We're at number 3. So originally, in my original ranking, my top was a little bit different. I'll tell you why as I go, but this has always been my number 3. Great album. This is their second overall studio album from 1988 called The New Order, and we'll show you this one on my original cassette. This one I absolutely want to get a reissue on vinyl. I hope Music on Vinyl does that one at some point. I don't have that one, but I do have my original CD also. But yeah, this is my day 1 cassette, still in really good condition. But as far as this album goes, I would say there's a couple of little instrumentals in here, and there's a cover of Aerosmith's Nobody's Fault, which are all good, but everything in between is thrashterpiece. The New Order, Trial by Fire. I remember watching that video, and I watched it over and over, and just that start, that riff, and that, which again, I'm not doing that any justice, but the video, the song. Into the Pit, awesome. Disciples of the Watch, yes, definitely, that is awesome. The Preacher, Day of Reckoning, yeah, top to bottom. If you have never checked out this album for some strange reason, go check it out. Number 3, 88, The New Order from Testament. So brings us to number 2, which in my previous video, I had it a little bit higher, and it was just the year it came out, 1989, kind of that time in my life where I had 2 or 3 cassettes that never left my vehicle, and this one was one of them. Faith No More, The Real Thing, and a couple other ones. Just so they were burnt to my head. So I held this one a little bit higher before, but I've kind of realized that it's not the case anymore. But love the album regardless. That is Testament, Practice What You Preach. There's my original cassette. Again, I love the artwork. This is my favorite. Like I said, my favorite Testament logo when they continue the T into the A over to the T. Original on Atlantic Records. Yeah, this is a real thrash sound of the 80s for sure. Produced by Alex Perielis, who produced tons of stuff in the 80s, which if you're watching this video, you already know all that stuff. But title track, love it. One of my favorite tracks is Perilous Nation, Envy Life, Greenhouse Effect, The Ballad, which is, the song is a ballad and it's called The Ballad. You all know that one. Sins of Omission, another one to check out for sure. Love to get this one on vinyl someday, and I'm sure it will get a reissue. I'm probably thinking these two will get a reissue here in 2023. Definitely pick those up for the collection. Love anything Testament, whether it's live, DVD, whatever. So that brings us to number 1, and this is not only is it my number 1 Testament album, it is my number 1 thrash debut album of all time. That's probably a video I should do of favorite thrash debuts one day. I'll make a note of that, whether I do 10 of my favorite or something like that, top 5, whatever. But this is The Legacy from 1987, and I bought this brand, not this certain copy. I do have it on cassette and CD, but I bought it brand new. The cover artwork drew me in 1987, and one of those bands that I've never looked back. When I think or I say the word Thrashterpiece, this is what comes to mind. This, or I won't give any other album names away, but this one absolutely comes to mind. Love the artwork. Just a young, hungry band. Chuck Billy comes in, takes over for Zetro. Lyrically, this one is a little different than a lot of the rest of the Testament because of the, lots of these songs. I think 6 of these songs were penned by Zetro, and or in collaboration with some of the other members. But this album, great tracks. Opening track, Over the Wall, awesome. Burnt Offerings, Raging Waters, Curse of the Legions of Death, First Strike is Deadly, Do or Die, Alone in the Dark. It just doesn't stop. It's almost like this album was, lack of a better word, lightning in a bottle. They never quite made this album again. They've made fantastic albums, don't get me wrong, but this one it's special. I think it is anyways. Let me know in the comments your favorite Testament albums. I know a lot of you guys my age have a lot of the same favorites, those early years, stuff like that. But their new material is no slouch either. Definitely looking forward to, I'd love to see Testament again. I saw them, like I said, the first time was 1990. Then I saw them again I saw them in 2008. They opened for Judas Priest on the Nostradamus tour, which was kind of a weird pairing, but it worked for me because I love both bands. And then I saw them again with Megadeth and Exodus in 2010. And actually, Alex wasn't there. He was off doing some stuff for Trans-Siberian Orchestra. And Glenn Drover actually filled in for him. And I got to meet Glenn Drover after the show too. It was kind of cool. Got to meet Gary Holt, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, there is my updated Testament ranking. Like I said, leave a note in the comments, your favorite couple of Testament albums, rank them all in there if you want. And up next in this series, we will do Armored Saint for sure. A subscriber request, which I really appreciate, and thank you. And thanks to all the new people that have popped on by to check out this old silver-haired metalhead on this channel. Always appreciate it. And until next time, stay heavy.